Welcome back to the Stephen Knight Show. Adam, how's it going in DC?
Well, DC, another day of occupation. See the National Guard everywhere still, but we
Really?
went and
Still seeing?
protested on Saturday, so doing what I can.
I know they were out there. They were out there. Well, okay, I'll let y'all take it away with movie reviews. And I have a good movie I saw this weekend too, but I'll let y'all go
Okay.
first.
Yeah, I wonder if it's the same thing. So I saw, and I actually almost texted y'all for this one, The Perfect Neighbor. And this is a documentary that came out this weekend on Netflix. I guess it had a small release in the theaters a couple weeks before, the week before. But for anyone who doesn't know, it's a documentary that follows the killing of Ajike Owens, this black mother in Florida that had a neighbor that was an older white lady that kind of had trouble with the kids. And she would always complain that the kids are playing in this kind of common space behind her house or in front of her house. I didn't really understand the layout of that property. Maybe you guys understood it a little better. But essentially, what it was is over this time period, the woman shot, and I think her name was Susan, shot Ajika through a door of her home and tried to, claim that it was a stand your ground rule. It happened last year. You can actually read all about it. You guys probably covered it in Hot Topics when this happened at the time. And what ended up happening with Susan is a few days later, she did get arrested and they discovered that she didn't have any standing for the stand your ground rule. What makes this documentary, though, very interesting, it's probably one of the most interestingly shot documentaries I've seen in a very long time, is most of it is done through police body cam footage and some doorbell footages and things like that. But what you are experiencing is a timeline of the police coming out to this woman who's complaining about these kids playing in the lawn. The police, there's not much to do because with the property, they're allowed to play. The landlord that owns the property lets them play on the lawn, but you get this whole history of what's going on as they respond to this woman that's complaining and what sadly happens on the night of the killing of them responding to that incident. I think the director, Gita Gunbrier, does a great job of like narrating what you're seeing without showing too much of a bias. You're getting just the police footage, you're getting them coming out, you're getting what happened, how they responded. And it's all real. It's all you're there observing it in real time. And I think they just did such a great job with showing that story. I mean, it's a heartbreaking documentary. You get to see, you see in real time when they're responding to the 911 call, and you see the reaction to the kids and um, the family members when they're told the unfortunate news about the mom not making it. And it's just, it's a hard watch during those moments because you get to see the real emotion that happens to these children. And then what happens afterwards, where this woman who, and I won't dig too deep into it because I want, the viewers to kind of get their own um, information from it, but it does such a good job of not just like being a case against the stand your ground law, but a case of mental illness, a case of a racist neighbor, a case of someone who has issues, someone who hates kids, a case of gun laws. There's just so many layers in here that they're presenting to you, and then just kind of gives you the story and then ends there. So I think if you see like one documentary this year, this is the one to watch. It's just so well done. There's not, I don't know if there's a big call to action in the sense of, against stand your ground laws, but there's a lot to absorb and a lot to think about as we as an American society deal with. So highly recommend.
hmm Yeah, can I just speak to like the what you were
Yeah,
talking
I
about
saw
the
it. I didn't
property? Would you say, Stephen?
good.
So in somewhere in the documentary, the woman, she's renting the property, and the cops ask her to go get um the line of property from the landlord. and the landlord posts a sign, no trespassing on my property, but it's only like a couple meters from where the actual house is. The space that's in between, because I've known neighborhoods that are built like that. The space in between the houses is probably an underground electrical wiring situation. So they're not going to build on top of it, and it's just open space. And the kids were using that in the neighborhood to play. The other neighbor said that they didn't mind the kids being over there playing because the kids are not in trouble. They're off of, being in bad situations. They're in the neighborhood, mostly across the street from where they live, and their parents can watch them play. And the parents are present. All the neighborhood kids go to that space. And it seems like that woman was just picking on the children because she didn't like children. She especially didn't like people of color. And she just wanted to, as the kids kept calling her, the Karen. She wanted to be the Karen. And it was very heartbreaking to see it escalate the way that it did. And like it caught me, it got me. And I had to take a minute because, who wants to watch children go through, what they went through?
Yeah. And especially the woman who was murdered, her kids. Remember, they blamed
Yeah.
themselves for going and
Mm-hmm.
telling their mom this woman's messing with us.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't finish it all yesterday, but I was watching. I was actually at lunch with Miss Parker and some other people yesterday, and she had talked about it. And she said she couldn't even sleep after she watched it
Yeah.
the weekend. But yeah, I mean, I didn't. I mean, if I didn't already know the story, I didn't expect the woman to take it that far. I mean, you knew she was a a nuisance to everyone, and harassing the police, harassing the community. But I didn't expect her to take it matters in her hands like that. And that was
So there's a part that I want you guys to pay attention to. And it's the part right after the mom gets shot and the woman calls the police to tell on herself. The dramatics that she's given on the phone immediately, like after it happened, and then when she starts getting interrogated, how it shifts.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Well, and just to add, so and that's why it's like it presents an interesting mental health case too, because there's footage of her not even related to the children where she rams like a neighbor's fence because they
Mm-hmm.
she was locked in and they go approach her and she was very apprehensive to the police and she didn't
Mm-hmm.
want to talk to them, but then when she discovered the severity of it, she changed, So I think that's another interesting point too, is like this woman had issues. She had a lot of, I mean, besides not liking children, there was something wrong with her. And the documentary gives you that without telling you how you should
Mm-hmm.
think. You're just presented with the information. So I thought
Right.
that was interesting.
Oh, I guess it's my turn. So I saw a couple films. The first film is called Together, which stars Dave Franco and his real life wife, Alison Brie. And it makes sense that a married couple would star in this film because the film is about a couple who has some type of spiritual encounter and a sci-fi spiritual thing starts to happen to them and as a result of their happenstance. So the characters are longtime coupled. They're not married, and they're going through a transition in life where I believe the wife gets a career opportunity and they have to move. But the move is going to take them further away from anyone that they've known. It's going to take them to a new environment, and they're trying to reconcile with, are we just enough for one another? Should we get married? Should we be married at this point in our relationship? Do they really want it? Do they still love each other? But they move forward anyway. And there's this happenstance that happens, and it starts to metamorphosize their relationship in a very dramatic way. I'll say it that way. I suggest you check out the trailer to see if it's something that you want to watch. But I found it enjoying. I love movies that make me think. I love movies that make me want to revisit it and see what else is happening. If they decided to do a sequel, I wouldn't be mad at it. And I think that this is a story that could probably have legs to tell other stories just because of how it was structured. I live for that. So if you're into sci-fi slash horror, and possibly thinking about if the person that you're with is the one or not, maybe check out this movie. It's actually on streaming now. You have to actually purchase it because it was freshly out of the theaters, but I think it's worth the watch. It's pretty interesting. Check it out.
I saw it in the theaters and I didn't like it. Go ahead.
Why didn't you like it? Talk about it.
I don't like what happens to them. I think it's gross. When
When I
I,
found out that they were really married, though, I was like, okay, only a married couple could do this.
but you know what was
Like,
interesting? I didn't realize they were married until I saw one of them promoting it, and they said it was his real life wife. I said, "Oh, okay." But yeah,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So you didn't like it because you thought it was gross?
I thought it was gross. Yeah,
Well, what about? Go ahead.
and I like I like horror movies and scary movies, but that was just it was just like okay, yeah, no,
Yeah, it was intense a little bit,
yeah.
but just think about
And
the
I saw it in the
origins of it.
theaters.
Like, why is this a thing? Where did it come from? Why were people so drawn to that? That's what I want to know. Like, where did
That
this concept
that
come from?
that freak that put him onto it. Remember the teacher?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, but there was I don't want to tell the story, but there was
Yeah,
a whole facility at one
yeah,
point in time.
it was. Yeah,
Why? I want to know why. I want to know the origins. Is
yeah,
it from outer space? Is it witchcraft? What is it?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But anyway, I have
like,
questions.
yeah.
So the next film I saw was a documentary film. It's called I Like Me, the John Candy story. And if anyone can go back to the 80s, uh, I'm
Is that
probably the only one on here that can
is that Uncle
in that
Buck?
way.
But
John Candy was a big comedic star.
Was it Uncle
And
Buck? What Uncle Buck?
yes,
yes,
Uncle
Yeah,
Buck,
yeah, man.
Barf from
He
Spaceballs.
was
yeah,
hilarious.
yeah. And he was improv actor who moved on to sketch comedy, which he started writing for the sketch comedy, and he won an Emmy actually before we even really knew who he was. And he decided on a summer break from SCTV that he was going to start auditioning for movies. And his first movie was Stripes with Dan Aykroyd, and they became good friends. And this documentary is directed by Tom Hanks' son Colin. And so the same circle of friends that he had in his rise was pretty much his friends, in his life. And they all chime in and talk about, who he was as a person, his artistry, his dedication, how he was going to be a football player until he hurt himself, and then he decided to become an actor. It's a pretty interesting. You really don't know too much about John Candy. You know that he was in a few movies and he made you laugh, but you didn't really get to know him as a person because he was around before like the social media and paparazzi, got crazy. So we didn't get to really know John Candy up and personal. So this was a good documentary. I learned a lot about him and it made me appreciate him more. And I have to go back and look at some other films that he was in
Yeah.
to just absorb him more. He was brilliant.
Yeah, did he died at a young age of a heart attack, right, or something?
Yep. Yep.
Mm.
Yeah, which was crazy. And I mean, I haven't seen the documentary, but they alluded that kind of it was part of his lifestyle that
Hmm.
bad health, again, celebrity and stuff like that can get to you.
Yeah. 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 He was pretty young, and I remember when he died, and thinking, "Wow, we're not going to get that," because he was a archetype. He had a niche
Mhm.
in film, and we weren't going to get that anymore. And there were people that came after him, but they weren't. They didn't have that. John Candy could be hilarious, vulgar. He fit the archetype of the big broody dude. He could do that, but he also had like a adorable, loving, innocent type of way to him too, which a lot of the people that came after him couldn't fill. He was just
Yeah,
different.
yeah.
Yeah.
He was able to master that like teddy bear that's so annoying you want to strangle, but they're just
Yeah.
a nice cuddly teddy bear and
Yes.
they're not meaning any harm. But man, yeah, in his
Yeah.
movies, he really knew how to anger
Yeah.
people.
Absolutely. And those are two films that I saw. So I don't know if you're keeping up with Task, Adam. I don't know if you've been watching, but it's intense.
I've, I've heard it's intense. My mom's been watching it and she caught up to everything and she's like, okay, let's watch the next one. And then she didn't realize there's still one more episode left. So I don't think she's watched it yet. But yeah, I've heard great things and it's got that high drama.
And so I didn't find out until after the fact. Like this morning, I think I found out that the whole cast was close to me in Philadelphia doing the screening for this latest episode. They were all here, and I'm angry that I
Oh
didn't know
man.
because I would have went. And some I know a couple people that are actually in the series, like Elvis Nolasco, I know him. Domingo Colon, I know him. And it would have been nice to catch up with them to, to get in their head about being on this Smash here series. It's beyond. It's like one of the best series that they've had on in a while. And the same guy that created Mayor of
Of
what was
Easton.
yeah, this it's the same creator and producers, and it's all
Nice.
based the show's based in the Delaware Valley area. So I'm seeing some of my haunts of, in Delco, Pennsylvania, and it's pretty interesting how they can take an area and then humanize it, but then build this whole world in it, almost like what they did with The Wire in Baltimore. It's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Of course, the morning show, Stephen,
Yeah,
it's getting intense.
it's awesome. Yeah, yeah,
This
yeah.
last episode was fire.
It was. It really was. It really was. Yeah, yeah. I don't want you. Got to watch it. You got to watch it. I'll just say that.
Yeah,
I'll get to it one day once I get your Apple login,
My friends
Steven.
just caught up on all the seasons, and now I just hit this new season.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
really, yeah, yeah.
So I told you guys last week that I watched Marvel Zombies, and that surprised me. It was very, very good. So now I'm watching Eyes on Wakanda, which is also good. Marvel is kicking it out the box with their animated series. I hope they continue it. I just read that the next season for X-Men 97 will be starting next summer, and they already greenlit the third season all the way clean up until the fifth season. So they're ready to rock and roll, and I'm here for all of it. Gen V, if you guys aren't keeping up with that, is pretty good this year. Gen V is the spinoff to The Boys. Definitely check that out. And I'm looking forward to, before you even ask me, Steven, the reason I asked you guys before we got started, the clown question, I wanted to know the serial killer's name, and his name was John Wayne Gacy, who posed as a clown. There's a movie coming on Peacock that I want to check out where it's actually talking about his life, and it's not a documentary, it's a drama.
Nice.
Nice.
Like, but real quick before we wrap, I saw him over the weekend. And, it's by Jordan Peele, and it stars Marlon Wayans and Tariq Withers. Just the movie is described as follows Cameron Cade, played by Tariq, a promising young quarterback whose career is threatened by a severe brain injury caused by an obsessed fan. With his football future in jeopardy, he is offered a chance to train with his childhood idol Isaiah White, played by Marlon Wayans, was eight-time championship winning quarterback known as the GOAT. Now Cameron travels to Isaiah's isolated high tech compound where he lives with his social media influencer wife, Elise White, who's played by Julia Fox. As the training becomes increasingly intense and psychologically disturbing, Isaiah's charismatic persona sours into something sinister. Cameron's journey descends into a disordinated rabbit hole, forcing him to confront dark secrets behind Isaiah's success and the inner workings of the sport itself. Now, it says that here it explores themes like pursuit of greatness, fame, and insidious nature of power in professional football. But I also think it plays on religion. It plays on when someone is retiring, how they're kind of thrown out to pasture, and when the new person is coming of age, how much are they willing to sacrifice? But it was a lot of
Mhm.
different things. But because it's a Jordan Peele movie, there was a lot of craziness in it. I actually thought it was really good, though. I thought it was really good, and it was good seeing Marlon in a different type of role. He's a very serious person, very sinister kind of person. But yeah, I recommend it. one of my friends didn't like it at all. But
Well, yeah, I think Steven, you're the only one that liked it because it bombed in the theaters. I think the
I
ratings
liked it. I
were
really did.
really bad, but it continued your trend of liking bad movies.
Like what everybody hates.
So I will say this as a critic of films and the pathology of Jordan Peele. His movies, you have to let them marinate for a
Yeah,
minute. You can't
yeah,
watch them and just be okay with a watch. You gotta
right.
kind of revisit. You have to sit and think about it. You gotta like stir it up a little bit, and then
Yeah,
maybe revisit it again to actually let it all sink in.
yeah,
So you liked it from first watch.
yeah. I liked
I,
it.
I've been hearing mixed signals, but I'm willing to give it a watch to see. You know, Jordan Peele doesn't do any wrong with me, so
Yeah,
I'm curious.
yeah. I
Yeah,
liked
I
it.
was about to say, if you have to watch a movie multiple times to like it, then I think because you watch Get Out and people loved it from the first
Right.
going, so I think it could be hit or miss.
Yeah.
So with me, okay, Jordan Peele is like that. I'll give you another example. Stanley Kubrick. Stanley Kubrick is like that for me because he gives you so much at once. If you just watch something on the surface, it could either be boring to you or the visuality of it could pull you in, but you don't really get it. And it's
Hmm.
so layered, like something like The Shining, like it's not really like in your face horror, like rah rah, but it's psychological horror. And if you're not on the level to receive that, you kind of have to like get into it differently because it's layered. Even with A Clockwork Orange, it's layered, and you have to watch it multiple times to actually get it. And like, oh wow, this is pretty deep. I
Yeah.
don't know. I think Jordan
Yeah,
Peele's the
I
same way.
don't think him's gonna get that same category as Clockwork Orange.
Listen, I tell you, those fans remind me of MAGA. I'll tell you that. Well, listen, y'all, we got to wrap. But thank you so much for letting us know what to spend our time and money on, what not to. We'll be right back after this.